de Dune vino a México como primera parada de su tour de medios. El director, la productora y el gran cast de esta película nos acompañaron en la alfombra y el fan event que se dio en el Auditorio Nacional. Se quedaron muchísimo tiempo con los fans firmando autógrafos, tomándose fotos, recibiendo cartitas, regalos, además de presentar la película por primera vez a una audiencia fuera de los medios aquí en México. La verdad es que espero que se hayan llevado muy buenas reacciones. Además, también ofrecieron una conferencia de prensa el día anterior al fan event y esto fue algo de lo que nos dijeron.
For me, part 2 is the main course. It's really, frankly, I'm afraid to say, but I think it's the movie I was born to do. It's like, it's a movie where I put absolutely every inch, every second of this movie is coming out of me.
El director Denis Villeneuve lleva queriendo hacer esta adaptación desde que tenía 13 años, tan solo 13 años, y ese pequeño niño que leyó los libros y se enamoró de la historia, se la pasaba haciendo storyboards de cómo se imaginaba en su cabeza la historia en la pantalla grande y finalmente cumplió su sueño. Es básicamente, pues sí, el sueño de toda su vida.
So it's like a movie, it's a movie that I wanted more muscular, more with more action. It's where Paul finally becomes a man, and this makes big decision in order to really avenge his father and follow his destiny, and maybe create chaos, or what is the right path. It's a tragedy.
Por si no sabías, Dune o Duna está basada en una serie de libros escrita por Frank Herbert. Todos estos libros marcaron una generación completa que ahora ha de ser muy cool ver en pantalla esos libros que los marcaron desde que eran niños, esos libros con los que crecieron, y justamente Zendaya habla de eso, de lo importante que es para mucha gente esta historia, y obviamente por eso tienen que hacerla con el corazón. Además les digo que vamos a poder ver muchísimo más de Chani, el personaje de Zendaya, que pudimos conocer al final de la primera película, además de traernos nuevos personajes.
I feel so incredibly grateful, you know, it's something so special, and you really feel like you're a part of something that means something to a lot of people. Obviously the book means something to a lot of people, and there's such a legacy there, and I feel you know, just incredibly honored to be part of something that means so much to Denis as well. And you can feel that heart and that joy every day we were on set. I think what I really appreciate that Denis brought forward with Chani in this iteration, I think, is really giving her strong convictions and a real strong sense of self. And I think for me, that was enjoyable as an actress because it made the whole love story much harder and more difficult, which means we had to earn it, and their love isn't given. It's something that they, you know, they have to work for. And she comes into it extremely guarded with a lot of pain surrounding what Paul really represents in her life. And so I think for me, it was exciting because I was like, oh, there's this internal, constant dialogue I think she's having with herself over whether or not she should allow this person in, and whether or not it is safe to love.
Florence Pugh es uno de los grandes talentos que se incorpora a esta segunda parte con un personaje bastante diferente a lo que la hemos visto en ocasiones anteriores en otras películas. Es la princesa Irulan y bueno, ella quería participar de esta película y obviamente no pudo decir que no cuando se le presentó la oportunidad.
A conversation of a second movie, like the idea of being in a second movie was then basically like the best gift ever, because we knew what we were walking into, and we knew that it was very, very special that we were able to walk into it. I watched the first movie, and I remember chatting to my team and just gassing about it. It was just like, I hadn't seen anything like it for such a long time. Basically, all of us were pleading that if there was ever anything to do with the second, could I be a part of it? And then I had a wonderful coffee with Denis when I was in LA, and then the rest kind of followed.
Otro de los talentos que se incorporan a esta segunda parte es Austin Butler con Faith, que es un Harkonnen, y su personaje obviamente requería de preparación física porque tenía que verse de cierta manera, tenía que comportarse de cierta manera y tenía que ser imponente.
The gift of being able to see the first film, and I've been a fan of every one of Denis' films beforehand, and then to see Dune and know the scale and the texture and the feeling of it and the intensity and the beauty. it was one of those things that I thought if I ever got a chance to be in something like that, I would do anything to be a part of that. It was Denis' vision was to have Faye being physically imposing in some way, and so I knew that there was going to be a lot of training involved, and then that changes the way that you walk, and it changes the way that you feel in your body, and when you have more weight on you, you feel different, you know, you feel more rooted to the ground, and so that was the start, and then it was figuring out how he fights, and so working with our wonderful stunt team and with our Kali instructor in Los Angeles to do knife training, and that became another one of the keys in.
Y aunque esta historia esté basada en una serie de libros ya escritos básicamente como guía para la adaptación, recordemos que también hay muchísima tela de dónde cortar, hay muchísimas cosas que podrían suceder en el futuro, y justamente Florence y Zendaya hablaban acerca del potencial que tiene la historia, acerca de lo emocionadas que están por saber qué es lo que va a pasar y qué sorpresas nuevas trae el futuro de Dune.
I don't think I've ever played a character as quiet as her before. I'm usually really grabbing hold of someone that is feisty and opinionated and loud and bullshit, and probably for the first time I'm playing someone that is unbelievably calculated and you're not quite sure what's going on in her head at any given time. And I loved reading that in the script. I loved the way that it watched her watching. Like, you were never quite sure what she was clocking onto, what she was listening to, what she was taking note of. Yeah, she's an exciting role because I know that it ends on a ... And I think for any actor, having a character that only kind of breathes potential of what's to come next is the most thrilling thing, especially when you're in a cast like this. Zendaya and I have been talking for the last week about like how excited we are to see what happens, and how we'd love to be a fly on the wall to see what happens between them. So, yeah.
Y esta película no es una secuela, sino que es la parte 2 simplemente de lo que vimos. La primera fue literalmente como la base, y esta segunda ya podemos ver, conociendo todo el mundo y ya teniendo asentada toda la información necesaria para este momento, la historia desarrollarse muchísimo más. Ya tenemos mucho más clímax, ya tenemos muchísimo más arco en todos los personajes, que eso es algo que está muy cool.
I feel like the first film was sort of laying the foundation for this film. I'm hugely proud to be up here. These are all people I admire deeply, genuinely. So I'm just enjoying every moment of this. This is, I'll be lucky, and I hope to be in more great movies, but I'll be lucky to be in a movie, you know, this good ever again.
Además, obviamente, tenemos de regreso a Timothée Chalamet como Paul Atreides, que en esta película va a tener que tomar una serie de decisiones que van a impactar muchísimo en su futuro y en el de los demás también puede ser. Así que va a tener que ser muy inteligente en los pasos que da. Ya se convierte en un hombre, ya es mucho más maduro y pues básicamente tiene que tomar el lugar y seguir el destino que le corresponde.
Well, I feel like at the beginning of the first movie, you know, Paul's literally behind walls and sort of has a royal background, and I think is virtuous in some way but hasn't been tested at all. Obviously, personal tragedy befalls him over the course of the first movie. We see someone who's not only stepped into his manhood, into his adulthood, but is almost accepting a leadership position that he's very reluctant to. You know, is sort of wanting to embark on a different path with Chani, where he'd be taken as he was, and instead destiny calls him, and he can't refuse his destiny.
Y bueno, déjenme decirles que fue increíble tener al elenco de Dune aquí en México, una de las películas más esperadas desde hace mucho tiempo, que postergó muchísimo su fecha de estreno, pero que por fin vamos a tener la dicha de ver en la pantalla grande, porque sí, esta es una película que no se pueden perder por nada del mundo en la pantalla grande. Por supuesto, no te olvides de suscribirte y dejar tu bello comentario acá abajo, porque nos encantaría saber qué es lo que crees que va a pasar en esta segunda parte y todas las teorías que tengas.